where you're going and who you're going with. Not to limit what you can do, but just to keep track. If you go missing, time is of the essence. It matters whether people know you're missing 5 minutes after you're gone, or 5 hours, or 5 days, that type of thing.
What do you think about that, Tom?
Good information. That you want to create the perception, even if it's not real. The person you're with wants to believe that they're not anonymous, that somebody else knows we're meeting and where we're meeting. That's good stuff.
Hold that thought, Christine. We're going to go to break. If you would be so kind to stay on hold with us while we're on break, we'll come back to you as soon as we return. And for anyone else who wants to jump into the conversation, please give us a call at 914-693-5700.
We're back.
No. Yeah, we're still on here, so let's turn that down. Just summarize what she said for the people on here.
Christine?
Because, yeah, Christine was on. There's a dozen people in here and 38 people in here. They can't hear here. So what was she, just quickly, what did Christine say?
Christine was giving us tips on what is taught
she a
in
realtor?
her company.
Oh,
she works with Annie Mac Mortgage.
Okay.
And she travels extensively, and she said that her company is giving them training and some tips, and Tom jumped in and was, either agreeing with it. Right.
Absolutely. Anytime you can let somebody else know,
right.
Somebody has a backup, because we can depend on technology, apps to help us out, but those are after the fact. What we want to do is not go missing in the first place, or not become a victim in the first place. So if we're in communication with somebody else, and we can do it through our marketing, and we can do it face to face.
One point I want to make, I'll make it again on the radio, but in a prior conversation with Tom, he identified most of these crimes, even if they're violent, as opportunists.
I think criminals across the board are opportunists, and what we're looking to do is take the opportunity to become a victim away, or limit it. We can never take it away completely, but we want to limit the opportunity to become a victim. And we could do that doing various things that we do routinely. We need to turn and do them safely each time.
Look how the airline industry changed after September 11th. You can't say, well, I used to fly like this. I mean, you can't.
It's true.
Sorry. And
that's a good point.
You used to walk into courthouses and laugh, and now you're not.
And we'll share some stats that say, why doesn't the real estate industry change the way the airline industry has changed?
Like this.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
45 seconds.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, the book Who Moved My Cheese says that something big in someone's market or their workplace changed, and look how the fax machine changed the world, and look how emails changed the world, and we all have cell phones now and smartphones.
30 seconds.
No flip phones. So these developments, these opportunities change, and really this is a need, I think, and we got to get to the consumer, letting them know that it's not as though they're going to get their way.
Right.
All right, 10 seconds. Just stand by.
Is she still on?
Yeah.
All right.
That number again, 888-533-8138, or visit us on the web at betterqualified.com.
And we're back. And Christine, are you still on the hold with us? Awesome. Well, thank you for holding. I'm going to let Tom take over here and share some stats with you and some information.
Well, I got involved a couple of years ago. I did an internet awareness presentation up in Connecticut for the Northern Fairfield County Association of Realtors. And Rich Emick, the president up there, grabbed me afterwards and he said, you should really put something together for real estate agents. And I'll be honest, I said, why? And he sat me down and schooled me with a couple of statistics that blew me away. I researched it and put a presentation together a couple of years ago, and it's been fairly well received within the real estate community. And I'll start with the most overwhelming fact. There's been 189 realtors who were homicide victims at work since 2008.
Wow.
20 in 2014. The U.S. Department of Labor, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, releases those statistics every year. And there were 20 real estate agents murdered in 2014. 189 in the last 6 years. And what Scott said, could you imagine flight attendants, pilots, or co-pilots, if we lost 189 of them at work, you would have to get to an airport a month before your flight to pass through security. But yet very little has changed in the real estate industry. And I don't know where you stand, 189, maybe it's a small number with the thousands and thousands of real estate agents. But if you're one of those 189, or a coworker or a good friend is one of those 189, you take notice.
No, I agree. I don't think there should be one.
And in this industry, we're very reactive. After something horrible happens, we start to do things differently. What we need to do is learn from what's already taken place. I did a presentation down in Cape May, New Jersey, and it was a horrifying attack in Philadelphia the year before. Nobody in Cape May had even heard of this attack. It was a real estate agent attacked after an open house.
So we're not doing a good enough job in getting the information of what's happening out there.
That would be my belief, yes.
Well,
Yes.
Victoria's even worse than that because Tom mentioned the airline industry. Those are all employees. The airports all have employees. One big boss says it is the way it is, and that's what happens with the Jersey barriers by the drop-off, or they build walls where there weren't. The problem with real estate is these are all 2 million licensees, 1 million realtors. They're independent contractors. So if Victoria says, I'm not doing that, I'm going to be a pop star, I'm going to get out there and beat everybody and get right when they call, it's really hurting the biggest set of cats in the world. Unfortunately, you don't have uniformity. The brokers cannot dictate, as much as the general public may believe that the broker, the boss, can tell them how to do it. These are people are 1099 independent contractors, and they do what they want. It's a fact. So
Well, maybe it's because they're just not aware.
It's
So
one
I think we
component.
are raising awareness
We
every
are.
single day since we have heard about some of these homicides.
It's true. It's a very difficult thing to protect people from themselves. I tell people you need to assign a risk-reward ratio to everything you do. And what makes you think it's a good idea? What's the commission on that rental property that makes somebody think it's a good idea to meet a complete stranger in the train station parking lot at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night to show them a
And
townhouse?
that commission is definitely not worth more than your life.
Without a doubt.
Hold that thought. We have another caller on the line. Lisa, are you with us? Hi, Lisa. Do you have a question for us, or would you like to just jump on in on this conversation? Oh, please do. Are you an agent as well? Are you a realtor? Oh, okay.
Can I tell our Periscope users concisely?
Yes, please
Okay,
do.
so the caller says she was a buyer, and she went to a property. I don't remember if she had a realtor or not. She
Yes,
did-
with a realtor.
With a realtor, but yet someone who they had no idea would be there was there, and he was maybe a little bit, intent on harm or a bit, not controlled, and they were scared. Is that okay?
And you left. You left the premises. Well, that was smart.
Well, I start right there. You trusted your instincts. Who knows what he was there for, but your instincts were telling you this is not a good situation. And that's step one, is trusting our instincts on every situation that we encounter. You're right and you know it. Maybe you can't articulate it to somebody, but if you get that bad feeling, you need to trust it every time. And that's what it sounds like you guys did in this situation.
Right?
I would say don't even go when you're in any house with a barn. I mean, that's what I would, if I saw a barn. I would
Well,
not-
that would not be a good. That's not good advice,
I
Scott.
mean, for me, I'm down here in this part of the state, so if I see a barn, I think that there's something that is problematic. I wouldn't trust that. I mean that.
Well, Lisa, thank you very much for sharing your story. But Tom, that goes back to what you were saying before. I mean, if you're in a bad situation, get out.
Get
Fast.
out. Get out. Yes. There's
The last thing you want to do is get in that house with a stranger.
That's
behind
correct.
locked
You know, I
doors.
can apologize later. If I insulted you because my instincts were telling me get out, and I get out, I'll call you up later and say I apologize if it turned out to be I was overreacting. But I want to live to see the next day to be able to make that call and apologize to you. I trust my gut every time out.
Well, Victoria, you know, this is consumer facing, so I then say to you, I own the house with the barn, and my broker had an appointment with this agent for the buyer. Why didn't they have a showing? I mean, my house is listed. Someone's been on the market 6 months. We haven't any buyers, and then maybe my little brother was a little bit too loud, and she drove away. I mean, it's a matter of perception. So, what do you say to the consumer who may feel, justifiably or not, that their showings are less frequent because there's all this safety nonsense that I want to get my house sold, and now my listing agent is requiring the buyer's agent to get somebody to the house. I mean, this is too much. I used to just sell the house or any other home. Now what? My listing agent's really not doing a good job. I want to change agents because they're just.
Tom, how would you answer that?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things we can do to market a property without taking a risk to ourselves. The internet has changed the world, and the internet, I think, has changed real estate. How real estate agents market their property and market themselves to a certain extent come into play. Maybe you don't know about it, but they can track how many hits on a particular site and how many people are looking at a particular property, and that way only real buyers make contact with that real estate agent. And when we meet them, we vet them. I joke that a buyer won't spend 15 minutes to be pre-qualified, but a realtor is supposed to spend 8 hours on a Saturday afternoon with them.
That's a very
so
good point.
They need to do their part, and we need to
That's
do our
a very,
part as
very
well.
good point. You said you put together some guidelines, and in those guidelines, are you sharing with realtors that they should have the buyers come and meet at the office?
100%. The real estate agent is the professional in this transaction. 100% of first encounters with a new client have to take place in the real estate office. It takes the anonymity away. We start a client file. We photograph a driver's license. We make copies of it. We start a file. Other people in my agency know who my client is and where we're going and when we're going. And it has to happen 100% of the time. It's a re-education of the real estate industry. It's a re-education of the American public, and it starts with real estate agents educating their clients and the American public, and it starts in your office. If you made a dental appointment and the dentist said, meet me in the parking lot, you wouldn't go to that dentist office. You guys are the
That's right.
professionals
That's right.
in this situation. They come to your office,
That's right.
and we start a professional
I
relationship.
think that's the answer to your question, Scott. Have them come to the office, and then you would eliminate situations where you're pulling up to a house and then there's somebody
I
there.
agree. That solves the problem amongst professionals. These are all licensees. These are people who pay their dues. These are all people that are working within an office and are, in all cases, unless they are the principal broker, responsible to the principal broker. But at the crux of this issue is how do we bridge the gap between the consumer who may not be reasonable, the consumer who definitely their last go-round did not do it this way, so they don't buy 35 houses a month, they buy 4 in a lifetime. So if this is the experience they can call upon and they think that their realtor might be a little bit overzealous or they're away, I've done it myself. I said, come to the office. Someone said, no, I won't do that. I'll call someone else. They believe that they can always call someone else who's not going to take the approach that Tom, our professional, says. And I think, tragically, if you really ask my opinion, I think they're right. They know that they can make a phone call, and out of how many phone calls, out of 10, will they get to that property without going to the office? Let's be honest. In this
Well,
county, let's,
I think it's time for the realtor to raise the bar on that so that we're all doing the same thing consistently, and our safety is much more important. We have another caller on the line. We have Bill. Bill, are you still with us? Bill, that's a very good point that you just said, that